All right, so ready to dive into something I think we all think about?
Yeah.
How to stop being broke?
Mm-hmm.
We are going deep into a WikiHow article
Okay.
called How to Stop Being Broke with Pictures.
With pictures.
Yes, pictures.
Love it.
It's co-authored by Priya Malani,
Okay.
who is a financial advisor.
Great.
So we know we're getting some solid advice here. Think of this as your roadmap to financial freedom. We'll cover some practical tips, smart ways to think about money, and maybe even expose some of your own spending habits.
Yeah.
Ready to get started?
Absolutely. The first step, as the article highlights, is getting in the right mindset. It all starts with setting clear, specific financial goals.
So not just wishing for $1 million, but like having an actual target.
Right.
That makes sense, but I'm curious, how does that help with the day-to-day struggle of not having enough?
It's all about shifting your focus. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by lack, you start seeing the path to get where you want to be.
Okay.
So, for example, if your goal is to save for a down payment on a house, you break it down into smaller, achievable steps. Suddenly, it doesn't feel impossible anymore.
Okay, that's starting to click. But what about something that I struggle with? The whole comparison game.
Oh, yeah.
Social media makes it so hard not to, like, envy other people who seem to have it all.
Right.
The article mentions this, too.
Yeah, it's a trap we all fall into.
It is.
The key is realizing that comparison steals your joy and messes with your finances.
Okay.
You end up chasing things you don't need just to keep up.
It's like trying to run on a treadmill that keeps getting faster.
Yes.
So how do we get off this comparison treadmill?
By focusing on your own lane.
Okay.
Celebrate your small wins.
Okay.
Appreciate what you have. And remember, most people only show their highlight reel online.
Good point.
Yeah.
Speaking of highlights,
Yes.
the article highlights tracking expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And not just budgeting, but really getting granular.
Yes.
Categorizing everything and seeing what percentage of our income goes where.
I love that.
Have you seen people have those aha moments when they do this?
Absolutely. It's eye-opening to realize that daily $5 latte adds up to over $1,000 a year.
Wow.
Or that those harmless online shopping sprees are eating a huge chunk of your income.
So it's about bringing those unconscious spending habits into the light, right?
Exactly. And once you see the pattern, you can start making changes. Maybe that $1,000 could be going towards a vacation fund or paying down debt.
Speaking of debt, it's the elephant in the room for a lot of people. The article stresses making a plan to get out of it, suggesting things like extra payments. How much of a difference does that really make?
Even an extra $20 a month on your credit card bill can shave months off your repayment time.
Really?
And save you a significant amount on interest. It's like finding extra money you didn't know you had.
And beyond the numbers, what about the mental side of being debt-free? I imagine that feels amazing.
It's incredibly liberating, that weight lifted off your shoulders. It frees you to focus on building a positive future instead of constantly fighting off the past.
Okay, now for something that might seem counterintuitive. The article suggests starting an emergency fund, even when you're broke. How does that even work when you're barely making ends meet?
Think of it as planting a seed for future security. Even if you can only spare $10 or $20 a week, it builds a buffer against those unexpected expenses that inevitably pop up. It's like having a safety net so you don't fall deeper into debt every time life throws you a curveball.
So it's about breaking that cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, constantly feeling like you're one car repair away from disaster.
Exactly. And psychologically, it shifts your mindset from scarcity to one of empowerment. You start seeing yourselves as someone who takes control of their finances, even in small ways.
So we've talked about mindset, tracking expenses, tackling debt, and even starting an emergency fund.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in, but I'm already feeling more hopeful about my own finances. So what are some of those common money traps we should be aware of to keep that momentum going?
Ah, yes. Let's unpack some of the pitfalls that can sabotage our best financial intentions.
Okay.
We'll start by looking at lending money to friends and family.
Oh, yeah.
It's tricky territory. You want to be supportive, but it can backfire.
All right, let's dig into that and see how to navigate those tricky situations.
Lending money, especially when you're struggling yourself, can sometimes enable bad financial habits for both parties.
Yeah.
The borrower might become reliant on those loans, and you as the lender could end up resentful or financially strained.
Yeah, I can see how that would create a lot of tension in a relationship.
Yes.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a deeper issue.
Exactly. And speaking of things to avoid, the article flags payday loans as a major red flag.
Those always seem like a bad idea, but honestly, I don't fully understand how they work.
Payday loans are designed to trap people in a cycle of debt with their exorbitantly high interest rates.
Okay.
They might seem like a quick fix when you're desperate, but they make the problem much worse in the long run. Imagine needing $200 and ended up owing $500 just in interest a few months later.
Ouch, that's painful. It sounds like avoiding those payday loan places is key. What else should we be watching out for?
The article also stresses the importance of understanding the true costs of any loan, not just the initial price tag.
So it's not just about the monthly payment, but the long game.
Precisely. Especially for big purchases like a car or a house. You need to factor in interest rates, fees, and the total length of the loan. It can be eye-opening to see how much you'll actually pay over time compared to that initial sticker price.
It's like reading the fine print before signing on the dotted line. I guess that's where a lot of people get tripped up. And speaking of getting tripped up, let's talk about impulse buys. The article talks about avoiding those tempting environments, but how do we actually resist those urges when everything is designed to make us spend?
Our brains are wired for instant gratification. Those flashy displays and limited-time offers are like candy for our impulsive side.
Yeah.
By planning purchases in advance and giving yourself a cooling-off period, you allow your rational brain to step in and ask, do I really need this? It's about outsmarting your impulses instead of letting them rule your wallet.
So it's like giving your brain a chance to catch up to your desires and make a more informed decision. That makes a lot of sense. Now let's talk about credit cards, the double-edged sword of personal finance. The article recommends using cash to visualize spending, but are there any advantages to using credit cards?
Credit cards can be a valuable tool if used responsibly.
Okay.
They can help build credit, which is essential for things like getting a mortgage or a car loan.
Right.
They often offer rewards like cash back or travel points, and they provide a safety net for unexpected expenses. But it's crucial to choose the right card with reasonable terms and fees, pay your balance in full each month, and avoid overspending.
So it's not about demonizing credit cards, but rather being mindful and strategic about their use.
Exactly. It's about making them work for you, not against you.
That makes sense. We've covered a lot of ground here, from getting in the right mindset to setting goals, tracking expenses, and even navigating the tricky world of credit cards. I'm already feeling more empowered to take control of my finances. What's next on our roadmap to financial freedom?
Let's move on to the nitty-gritty of spending less. We'll look at everyday habits that drain our wallets without us even realizing it, and explore some creative strategies to keep more money in our pockets.
Okay, I'm ready to plug those leaks in my spending. All right, so we're ready to tackle spending less. I have a feeling this is where those pictures in the WikiHow article come in handy.
You'd be surprised how visual cues can make a difference. The article starts with everyday habits, those seemingly small expenses that can drain our bank accounts without us even noticing. Let's start with the classic example, coffee.
Oh, coffee. My weakness. But how much damage can a daily latte really do?
Let's break it down. Say you grab a $5 latte every weekday.
Okay.
That's $25 a week, which adds up to a whopping $1,300 per year. Now imagine if you invested that $1,300 instead. Even a conservative return could significantly grow that money over time.
Okay, that's making me rethink my coffee routine. What about other sneaky expenses?
Bottled water is another culprit. A $1 bottle a day might seem insignificant, but that's $365 a year. Think about the environmental impact, too. Invest in a reusable water bottle, you'll save money and help the planet. It's a win-win.
Definitely feeling guilty about those plastic water bottles now. And I'm guessing eating out is another budget buster.
Absolutely. Let's say you spend an average of $12 on lunch 5 days a week. That's $60 a week, which totals $3,120 per year.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine the delicious and healthy meals you could make at home for a fraction of that cost.
Okay, you're convincing me to dust off my cookbook. The article also talks about the magic of buying used. I admit I'm a bit hesitant about that, especially for clothes.
I understand the hesitation, but buying used is a fantastic way to save money and reduce consumption. From clothes and furniture to electronics and even cars, there's a treasure trove of gently used items out there for a fraction of the retail price.
So where do you even begin? Thrift stores, online marketplaces.
You've got it. Online platforms like Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and eBay are treasure troves of secondhand goods. Thrift stores and consignment shops are great for finding unique clothing and vintage pieces. And don't forget about used bookstores.
I love a good used bookstore. It's like a literary adventure. Speaking of adventures, the article encourages an audit of those monthly expenses, particularly memberships and subscriptions. This is a good time to ask, how many streaming services do you really need?
It's so easy to accumulate subscriptions without even realizing it. We sign up for a free trial and forget to cancel, or we hold on to services we barely use out of habit.
Yeah.
Take a close look at those gym memberships, streaming services, meal kits, and anything else that's automatically draining your account each month.
It's like decluttering your digital life. What about those essential expenses like groceries and household items? Any tips there?
Absolutely. Comparison shopping is your best friend. Leverage technology, use price comparison websites or apps to find the best deals. Don't forget about loyalty programs and coupons. They can add up to significant savings.
I always forget about coupons. Are there any other areas where we might be overspending without realizing it?
You'd be surprised how much money you can save by simply negotiating with service providers.
Really?
Call your cable company, internet provider, insurance company, and even your cell phone carrier and ask for a better deal. You have nothing to lose.
I never thought about negotiating with those companies.
Yeah.
What's the best way to approach it?
Be polite and persistent, do your research, and come prepared with competitor offers or promotions. Emphasize your loyalty as a customer, and remember, the worst they can say is no.
It's empowering to realize we have more control over those costs than we think. Okay, so we've talked about cutting back on everyday expenses, but what about bigger areas like entertainment and dining out? Those could be tough to give up.
You don't have to completely deprive yourself. It's about finding creative and affordable alternatives.
Okay.
Embrace the power of free activities, explore local parks, attend free community events, host potlucks with friends, or simply enjoy a picnic in your backyard.
I love that idea. It's about shifting the focus from expensive outings to experiences and connection.
Exactly. And when it comes to food, try cooking at home more often. It can be a fun and rewarding experience, and you'll be amazed at how much you save.
I'm already feeling inspired to get creative in the kitchen. The article also mentions DIY as a way to save money. Is that really feasible for someone who's not exactly handy?
DIY doesn't have to be intimidating. Start with small projects, like basic home repairs, simple car maintenance, or even learning to sew a button. There are tons of online resources and tutorials available. Not only will you save money, but you'll gain valuable skills and a sense of accomplishment.
It's like that saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime.
Exactly. And when it comes to saving money at home, don't underestimate the impact of reducing energy consumption.
Okay, so we're talking about those classic energy-saving tips.
Yes, but they're classics for a reason.
Yeah.
Simple changes like sealing drafts, using a programmable thermostat, switching to LED light bulbs, and unplugging electronics when not in use can make a significant difference in your energy bills.
It's amazing how those small actions can add up over time. Speaking of things adding up, the article reminds us to be vigilant about avoiding those pesky bank and credit card fees.
Those fees can really sneak up on you.
They do.
Choose a bank or credit union that offers fee-free checking and savings accounts. Be mindful of ATM fees and always pay your bills on time to avoid late charges.
It's about being proactive and choosing financial institutions that align with your needs. And if you do happen to slip up and incur a fee,
don't be afraid to call your bank or credit card company and ask for it to be waived. They're often willing to work with you, especially if you have a good history with them.
I never thought about negotiating bank fees. I'm starting to realize that negotiation is a superpower when it comes to personal finance.
It is. It's a skill worth developing. And finally, let's talk about a concept that might seem a bit unconventional: no-spend days.
Okay, that sounds intriguing. What exactly are no-spend days?
It's exactly what it sounds like. Challenge yourself to go a full day without spending any money.
Okay.
It might seem impossible in our consumer-driven world, but it's a powerful exercise in mindfulness and gratitude.
I can see how that would force you to get creative and appreciate what you already have. But wouldn't it be difficult to stick to?
It takes some planning and discipline, but the rewards are worth it. You'll realize you don't need to spend money to have a fulfilling day. It also breaks the cycle of constant consumption and helps you become more aware of your spending triggers.
I'm definitely adding no-spend days to my list of things to try. We've covered so much ground in this section, from coffee and lunches to energy bills and no-spend days. It's clear that every dollar counts.
It's not just about pinching pennies. It's about making conscious choices and redirecting those funds towards things that truly matter to you, whether it's paying down debt, saving for a dream vacation, or simply having more peace of mind.
So we've tackled mind state, learned about common money traps, and explored ways to plug those leaks in our spending. But what about the other side of the equation, earning more? Is it possible to boost our income even if we're stuck in a dead-end job or feel like we're already stretched thin?
Absolutely. Sometimes spending less isn't enough. We need to create new income streams to achieve our financial goals.
Yeah.
The WikiHow article touches on this, but let's dive deeper and explore some strategies that are relevant in today's world.
Okay, I'm ready to unleash my inner entrepreneur. Let's talk about those side hustles. Okay, I'm ready to unleash my inner entrepreneur. Let's talk about those side hustles.
The WikiHow article mentions getting a better job, asking for a raise, or pursuing further education. Those are all valid options, but let's explore some additional avenues that are particularly relevant in today's dynamic job market.
Okay, I'm all ears. Side hustles seem to be all the rage these days.
Yeah.
Any tips on finding one that's a good fit?
Think about your skills, your interests, and how much time you can realistically commit.
Okay.
Online tutoring is booming right now, especially with so many people embracing remote learning. If you have a knack for organization and communication, virtual assistant work is another great option. And if you're creative, consider selling crafts, artwork, or digital product online through platforms like Etsy or Shopify.
So it's about finding something you enjoy that also has earning potential.
Exactly.
That makes sense. What about those of us who are more inclined to, like, declutter and get rid of stuff rather than create new things?
That's a fantastic way to boost your income and create a more peaceful living space.
Right.
Selling unwanted items online through platforms like eBay or Facebook Marketplace can be surprisingly lucrative.
Yeah.
Or try consignment shops for clothing and accessories. And don't forget about the power of donating. You might be surprised by the tax deductions you can claim for charitable contributions.
Okay, so we have options. It's not just about working harder, but also working smarter. I'm feeling inspired to explore some of these side hustle ideas.
That's the spirit. Remember, even a small side income can make a big difference in reaching your financial goals faster. It could be the extra push you need to pay off debt, build your emergency fund, or finally take that dream vacation.
It's like adding fuel to the fire of our financial freedom journey. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive. From mindset shifts to spending hacks, avoiding money traps to boosting our income, it feels like a complete roadmap to financial wellness.
It's been a comprehensive journey, hasn't it? But remember, financial freedom isn't a destination, it's an ongoing process. It's about making conscious choices every day, adapting to new challenges, and constantly learning and evolving.
So it's not about perfection, but about progress.
Yes.
That takes the pressure off.
Exactly. It's about aligning your actions with your values and building a life that is both financially sustainable and deeply fulfilling.
As we wrap up this deep dive, is there a final thought you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Remember, true wealth isn't just about money. It's about having peace of mind, feeling secure, and having the freedom to pursue your passions without being weighed down by financial stress. So take what you've learned from this deep dive, start with one small step today, and watch as those small actions compound over time. You have the power to create the financial future you desire.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into how to stop being broke. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep. 26.5.